Hi, welcome to the video. My name's Dychronic, and today we're taking a look at the his location, his random rolls, and my recommendations for June 10th, 2022. My random rolls right here on my back. That was like 3 donuts on Wednesday. Don't want to talk about it. You can find the Xur in its regular location on the tower. Just make your way into the, there we go, the top left section of the hangar. You can find them right here next to the precipice. What a beautiful. This is a high overview in case this is all you cared about. First step for the weapon today, we have the Two-Tailed Fox. An interesting rocket because it's kind of like Eyes of Tomorrow, where it fires 2 rockets, one that's void suppresses and one that's solar that does damage over time. And that's what this thing does. So honestly, it goes back and forth whenever I do my damage testing. Sometimes it does like a lot more damage than a regular rocket, just a little slower. Sometimes it does a lot less damage. It's a very inconsistent testing weapon, or at least I haven't had the best time with it. Either way, it's not a bad rocket, but it is slow because you do have to wait for both rockets to exit the tube. And you know what I say, if you've got yourself a Gallorn, what's the point? Moving on for the Hunter exotic today, we have the Frosties, which actually does not have an ornament whatsoever. Interesting. So the Frosties is actually an exotic that's not bad. You get increase your grenade, melee, and dodge regeneration while you're sprinting. And I think this is like plus 50 to all your stats, but also only while you're sprinting. And dodging increases your sprint speed. So on average, maybe you're getting around like 10 to plus 20 in all of the stats because you're not going to be sprinting the whole time. Now this is an exotic that's not bad, especially if you're going to be running around a lot, like in PvP. A lot of hunters do like using this, and especially after the Stompy's nerf, a lot of people are going to want some alternatives. As far as the roll goes, you like to see a lot of mobility, maybe discipline, strength, and intellect, and honestly, it has all of that. Unfortunately, it does not have any recovery, but the total stats of 64 is that average to above average that I would recommend this roll if it fits with your build. Coming up next for the Titan exotic, we have the PEREGRINE GREAVES. And this season, it's actually a little bit better, considering you cannot one-shot with your shoulder charges in PvP anymore. This actually has a use, because you can just hop in the air, shoulder charge, and one-shot everything in the game, including enemy supers, which is obviously one of the biggest benefits. Combine that with PvE stuff, doing extra melee damage, if you can combine it with the strike thing of this. Either way, this is a fun exotic, but obviously limited by the fact that it's melee-based. When it comes to this exotic, you'd like to see a lot of mobility and strength, and it's got an okay amount of each. It also has a pretty good amount of recovery and a total stats of 65. Not bad, although not amazing. And finally, for the Warlock exotic, we have Eye of Another World, which has an ornament that honestly blows my mind. Essentially, you highlight priority targets. I think these are the enemies that have low health that you shot, and improves the regeneration speed of your grenade, melee, and rift abilities. And I believe this gives you like plus 20 or plus 30 to those abilities, which is obviously very good and very consistent. And I think it gives you like a bigger bonus the lower you are. So if you have like a 1 or a 2 in a certain stat, it gives you a lot more, versus if you're really high in that stat, it'll give you a slight amount. It's a weird exotic, but it gives you something within stats. And furthermore, the new thing provides a small benefit to airborne effectiveness stat to all weapons, which I forget what the number is, but I'm sure if you go to the TWAB and you can find out what that number is. Overall, a pretty good PvP exotic, definitely top 10 for Warlocks, has been for quite some time, and obviously with airborne effectiveness, this is a word that we're looking for. As far as the roll goes with this exotic, I guess you'd like to see discipline, strength, and recovery. It doesn't really have any of those, and it has a high resilience, which may work for your build, especially if you want an anti-flinch build. And a total stats 63 is average, so it's a weird distribution. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's a good exotic. Moving on for the weapons today, first up we have the Whispering Slab, which is a firmly planted opening shot, which is a decent combo. It also has an accuracy mod. It does not have a great second column, although it does have natural string. You really got to make sure that accuracy up, and that one is really poor. Although who knows, maybe the improved accuracy, range, opening attack, and of course the increased accuracy while crouched, and then this accuracy mod may end up bringing it high enough for you not to care. Either way, I think there are definitely better versions of this weapon, and I would recommend also the new Nutella bow that can has headshot, or headstone, that can has headshot. Following that, the Imperial Needle, which is impulse amplifier with thresh, a draw time, has straight fletching, does not have the fiberglass or the natural. Not a big fan of this bow. We have Gridskeeper. I'm not good with my words today. We have Gridskeeper with, it's kind of fun to say Gridskeeper. Slideways and Thresh, some other stuff, not really what I'm personally looking for. FRACTETHYST, which has, I didn't mess up FRACTETHYST. That's funny. Has Adagio, full auto, has Assault Mag, and some handling stuff, so it might be okay for PvE, but you could definitely do better. We have Icona Draconis or IOTA. Again, I mess up every single one of these. Under pressure, plus high impact reserves, plus projection fuse, plus Hammerforged rifling, and a charge time is a pretty good PvP roll. And I hear these days that the rapid fires are no longer the king, so this actually might be worth picking up. Following that, Blast BATTUE with moving target Wellspring. I don't know what this can have, but this is not really what I'm looking for 120 grenade launchers. And of course we have these Stars and Shadows, which can have any number of different perks. I think it has Kill Clip in there. It probably has a lot of really good perks, and this doesn't seem like really the best version. Although a lot of great stat stuff here. You got range, you got stability range, handling, swap, acquisition, stability. Following that, for the Titan options, for the armor, 63 total stats. Low recovery is not amazing, but it may work with your build. 60 is a little low, although a little better distribution. 67 with high resilience, which is a very high stat roll. In fact, this may even be worth me picking up. And finally, a 60 stat with an interesting distribution. Honestly, that 67, I would highly recommend you pick it up, especially considering how amazing resilience is these days. Don't know, resilience can give you up to like 42% damage resistance from PvE combatants, which is kind of insane. After that, let's take a look at the exotic weapons. Okay, first up for the Hawkmoon, we finally got ourselves a good old rangefinder. We also have a fluted barrel, which does not help with recoil direction, and we do not have recoil direction. Either way, rangefinder is probably one of the best things you can have on a hand cannon. I personally really like it. It really does make a big difference, especially in PvP and also in PvE. Something a lot of people overlook is that rangefinder is good for PvE. It does help. And furthermore, it has a lot of handling stuff, which is something you do like to see within PvE as well, although it doesn't have recoil direction on either of these two perks, which would make it pretty much the most ideal option. As far as the DMT goes, Outlaw's not the best, it's not the worst. We have Ricochet, which is pretty good. This in high cal is pretty nice. Chamber Compensator for recoil direction's okay, although not super necessary. And Fitted Stock for the recoil direction, again, is not necessary. So not the best roll for DMT, but whew, that Hawkmoon roll is pretty good. Again, most of the time you just need rangefinder, and that's most of what I would recommend. After that, of course, exotic engrams. Any exotic engram you ever receive is guaranteed to give an exotic you've never received before, and or with a high stat roll. So this one dropped with a 63, which I don't know what my previous one is, but that sounds pretty high. And of course, if you haven't seen it already, I do live stream right after all of these videos, as well as all the times on screen right now. Oftentimes doing open lobbies for the raids. Even if you haven't done it, come check us out. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Mom, Dad, Christian Thompson, Kellyanne, Ostruck, Jacob Berg, Monday, Steve Barker, Unipanther, and Casey Reagan for their support on Patreon. Hope you guys did enjoy. Mine is Dychronic, and I will see you guys on the next one.